very sad day for you punk rockers out there that just got into punk rocking like, a couple years ago. Apparently, the Warped Tour is going to finally end. I don't want to say finally like I'm a dick or anything like that.
Finally?
Yeah. The Warped Tour is going to end in 2018. That was founded by Kevin Lyman. So here's a statement that he said. The music industry's last... I got the story from Billboard. And he said the music industry's last remaining major traveling festival is saying goodbye. Next year, the band's Warped Tour will ride into the sunsets for the final summer's worth of North American tours. According to producer Kevin Lyman, who founded the tour in 1995, numerous factors, including an evolving summer festival industry, a shrinking pool of bands, a decline in ticket sales amongst its teenage demographic led to his declaring the tour's 24th year to be its last. And Drew actually was saying when we talked about this earlier that he thinks also the sexual misconduct that was happening on the tour was another leading factor. But he's
I don't know if that was a factor. I think that it probably is just people
he's not saying it happened though. It's the reason.
There's been some talk that some of the bands were involved in some things they shouldn't have been involved with.
Yeah, it's true, but I mean,
I guess that's what happens when your fan base is 14 years old and you are on the road.
Yeah. So he says, before Warped, I was on 3 years of Lollapalooza, so it's been 26 straight summers out on the road. And not that I'm completely going anywhere, but traveling around the country with a tour this size in this landscape that we're in is, to be honest, I'm just tired.
I'm too old for this.
But Warped still has one final summer worth of tours dates. No artists have been confirmed, and in fact, Lyman is still filling the bill, hoping for Warped icons that will hop on the tour to make their last hurrah. You're gonna see some big mix of bands. I feel really embrace the Warped Tour lifestyle, is what he said. I don't want to say a mature lineup, but bands that I think could use one more big push of Warped Tour to help further their careers.
So Bad Religion, The Descendants, who else do you think?
Rancid.
Rancid.
Yes. Now, for you guys out there, you don't know anything about the Warped Tour. It's crazy. So the Warped Tour, yeah, like he said, NoFX, Bad Religion, numerous bands have been on that tour, and it had other bands like Blink-182, No Doubt, and Paramore that started out on that tour. And outside of the punk and scene entirely, Warped's past lineups are riddled with some pre-superstardom misfit acts like Katy Perry was on that tour, Eminem, Kid Rock, the Black Eyed Peas, G-Eazy, among others. So they're going to actually have a 2018 tour and then something 2019. Now, I want to talk to you guys because everyone is on online like erupting like, oh my god, the Warped Tour's ending, I'm so sad. And they're like saying like, I remember going to the Warped Tour, my first Warped Tour was like
20 years ago.
Like my first Warped Tour was like 2011, my first Warped Tour was like 2005, my first Warped Tour was like 2 years ago. Where? And I'm going to tell you guys right now, my first Warped Tour was 1997. And
is that the year Deftones played?
They played in 1998. I went to 1997, 1998. I skipped 1999 because I wasn't into the bands that were playing. Went back to 2000, 2001,
Jesus
2002, 2003, 2004. Then I stopped. And I didn't go back until 2016 because I took my daughter there. And I'll tell you why in a second. So I've been to like 8 Warped Tours. And I'm going to be honest to say, you guys, I have not found a single person that has been to the Warped Tour before 1999. And I'm going to only assume because everyone that went to Warped Tour before them is dead. They must have passed away. It's only me and the bands that are alive now. So I'm a veteran. I have not met a single person that went to the Warped Tour before the turn of the century.
I've never been to Warped Tour.
That's what I was going to ask you. Never. Really?
Never.
So
the lineup never interests me.
Okay.
I almost considered it this year because there was a bunch of bands that I wanted to see. I wanted to see Guar and Candiria, Municipal Wastes. There's like a few others. Sick of It All played. But then I looked at how they were staged, and basically every band I wanted to see was on a different stage. So I mean, I could have gone and seen like 2 of the 8 or 9 bands that I wanted to see. Basically.
So Drew's basically saying you didn't want to walk. That's the problem you're saying.
That too.
Okay, so what for me, like, I was going like back to back every year, and I'm not gonna be this like this like higher than thou person. It's like, oh, like the work towards not catering to me. That's why it's not as good anymore. It's not that. I'm gonna say like the reason I stopped going is because it wasn't catering to me. But I'm not saying that was what they shouldn't do anymore. Yeah, I was singing bands I liked, punk bands, like ska bands. Like they started adding some like post-hardcore emo bands like Finch in like the 2002 era, and I was enjoying it. But then after a while, when I see the set list and the band list, I'm like, I don't like any of these bands, or I'm not gonna pay $50 to see 2 bands I like. I stopped going, and then every year after that, I was like, I don't like any bands playing, so I don't know the bands playing. I'm not going to go.
Yeah, that's how I was.
And the reason I went 2016 is because they have this reverse parenting thing where like parents can go for free if they bring their kids. So basically, my kid.
So you scammed Warped Tour is what you're saying.
My kid does not like this kind of music, but I was like, hey, I'll buy your ticket.
Do one for your good old dad.
Yeah, and I'll go for free. I go to the parent tent. It's cool, and at the same time, the 2016 Warped Tour brought back some of the earlier bands like Less Than Jake and Real Big Fish and Sum 41, as well as new bands. And I'm not gonna sit here and say like they should just cater to me and that Warped Tour should be all about what it was when I started going in the 90s. Kevin Lyman is a businessman, and the people my age, as we get older. Because when I went to Warped Tour in 1997, everybody was my age. But as the years went on, I kept going. Like, I started getting older, and unlike the movie...
and they stayed the same age.
No, they did not. They got younger. So it was like...
That's not a good scene.
Yeah, it's different from the movie Days Confused. Like, instead of them saying the same age, they got younger. So now Kevin Lyman is saying, like, oh, these 14-year-olds and stuff like that aren't coming as much as they used to. There were no 14-year-olds when I was going. It's just like... all high school, high school, like, late teen people were going, and then it started just going. They would get younger. I get older. I get older. My back was getting hurt in the pit, so I was like, all right, I can stop going to this show. I can't really crowd surf as much as I used to, so I stopped going to the shows. I don't like the bands playing anyway, so it's not for me. But this guy's doing stuff for the scene, and what I was doing, not going anymore. The same thing as the people my age. They're having kids. They're not going as much as shows, so he can't just keep having a Bad Religion play every year because then
Bad Religion can't play every year. They're like 80.
Yeah, they're not going to show up as much as if they play.
They got to have another like their children sign them out of the nursing home.
So they can't have the same bands play every year. So I totally agree with what Kevin Lyman was doing. That being said, it's just like it wasn't for me. So I'm not going anymore. So that. On the other hand, he was saying these.
I think it's more than that, though. I think that there's something going on, and I don't know what it is. There's like live music is trending away from big lineups.
That's what he's saying. Yeah.
Warped Tour is really the last touring festival that is standing because there's no more Ozfest. There's no more Sounds of the Underground. Lollapalooza isn't touring anymore. It's like a terrestrial thing.
Right.
And I think you see that a lot more where people don't want to spend, $50 for this day where they're like, oh, I got to run to this stage. I got to run to that stage. They want to come and get a hotel room and hang out and have an experience over the course of a weekend, not on like a Tuesday night or something like that. You got to take off work. It's like a whole thing.
Yeah.
And like I want to be in a venue. I'll watch 12 bands.
Wow. So
I want to be in air conditioning.
You're actually the same way as what he's saying. The people that aren't going anymore, he's saying like the kids nowadays are so used to like, not going to shows. They like, play their Xbox or on their phones, and then when they get old enough to like go to shows, they never grew up doing that, so they're not going as much. So he's saying that the attendance has been down for like a couple years. Yeah.
And Jamie Justice says something interesting on his podcast recently, because Hatebreed is going on tour, and he had to fight the promoters to get 4 bands on the bill. He was saying that most promoters only want 3 bands because any more than that, people don't want to show up early to see all 4 bands.
Yeah, it's true.
Back when I was younger, there was back in my day, you would go to a show, you'd pay $15 or whatever, or sometimes as little as 10. You'd see like 8 bands, and you'd be there the whole day. And you'd leave with like 5 CDs and like have new music to listen to.
Yeah, this.
I guess maybe the internet killed it, because now you can just sample everything. You could go on Bandcamp or wherever and sample the bands that you want to hear and be suggested other bands and whatnot, and going to a show is less relevant, I guess, in this climate.
So that's what he's saying. Like he's saying totally what Drew's saying, and that's what Kevin Lyman's saying. He signs all the popular new punk rock bands of the day, of the pop punk bands from now, like Neck Deep and Knocked Loose and I Prevail and Bear.
I wouldn't call Knocked Loose a pop punk band.
I'm just throwing them in there. Sleeping with Sirens. He signs all those bands to play on a tour. He books them anyway, and they don't draw the same crowds. And they're like, where are the 14 to 17-year-olds? They're not showing up. So not making as much money as he used to is one of the issues that they're saying. And people are saying, is this the end of like rock tours, the end of rock things? And it might be true, but I think what Kevin Lyman's doing to stop this now is it's been going for far too long. Not in a, I don't know how to say it without being like a dick, but I'm just saying it's run its course. I remember when going to the Warped Tour, they would not only just have bands and like tents playing, they had like BMX bikers like doing things. They had like people getting shot out of cannons and stuff like that. It was like mad to see. Now it's just like bands playing. This is the causes we have the tent. That's it. And at least that would be, other things would compensate the fact that the water was like $4 like that, and you're like baking in the sun, and everything's overpriced. That was fine at the time, but now it's just like you don't have much to do here. So for all you guys out there saying like, oh my God, I'm so sad the Warped Tour is again, dude, this guy's a fucking genius, because right now, next year's Warped Tour, he's gonna have all these like bands from the old and new, and you guys are gonna be saying to yourself, I gotta go to this Warped Tour now because it's the last one. He's gonna be selling out every fucking venue. He's gonna make mad loot. And then
and you know what's gonna happen? I can almost guarantee you.
I know what you're gonna think. I know what
where's Kevin Lyman from? California, I'm assuming.
I think so, yeah.
Can almost guarantee you 2019 or maybe 2020 Warped Festival.
Yeah, I was gonna say that
he's gonna have like a 3-day fest.
I was gonna say that, yeah.
Wherever he lives, that he can just like plan and just do, in his house, and like drive to, and like stay on the fairgrounds or whatever, and like it's not a big deal. Yeah,
to be less cynical than what Drew was saying, like for the 2019 tour, which is going to be like the quote-unquote 25th anniversary and final one, he's going to have like a 3-day event, and have every band that does not make the 2018 tour will be at that one.
And he's going to make hand over fist. He's going to have a bunch of bands that you wouldn't think. I'm sure he's going to have bands getting back together, because that's the big thing in the festival circus now.
It'll be like a 3-day event. People could sleep there, not there, but like tents like that, and people will fly from all over the
It's going to make more money than he's made in 10 years.
And like, you know what? I'll keep this tour going. And then people like, oh, I thought you were going to stop it. No, I'm like Black Sabbath. I'm going to keep this going. I changed my mind.
I would be shocked if Warped Festival doesn't happen in the next couple of years.
Yeah. So, yeah, rest easy, you little punkers that just started going to the Warped Tour like 2 years ago. The Warped Tour will be back, and you can see all your, like, screamo bands and, like, whiny pop punk bands.
You're going to have to fly out there and get a hotel room, but it'll be
totally worth it.
It'll be fine.
So, all right. So, let us know what you think in the comments if you want to see the Warped Tour. Well, actually, I say if you are sad about the Warped Tour, if you have some opinion on that, let us know in the section.